So being a small child, Subrata Bakshi, he desires to have a transistor radio at his home, which they were not having. So we saw other people with radios, and each time there was an advertisement of various of Philips, Murphy or Bush radios. We would ask father when he could get one. So there in the newspaper there were of various brands of transistor radios were there at the time. So like Philips, Murphy or Bush radios. So these are different brands. These are the different companies, name of the companies that they sell out their products, the transistor radios in the market. So the advertisement was there in the newspaper, and they were, being small child, they were very much fascinated with all those radio sets, and they were not having any one of them. So whenever they get time, they get chance, they ask their father that when we are going to get one. So each time my father would reply that we did not need one because we already had 5 radios, alluring to his 5 sons. That means whenever they ask that when we are going to have a transistor radio at our home. So in that question, to the reply to that, Subrata Bakshi's father said, why do we need radios? We are already having 5. And by saying that, he used to point to his brothers, to all 5 brothers. Why he says that? Because we also he said it just because that you people, 5 of you, why don't you try to gather your knowledge? Why don't you try to be expert in 5 different ways and try to keep yourself busy, try to keep yourself amused with your 5 different intellectual, 5 different expertise. Then if you are going to be like that, there would be no any use of any artificial radios or any kind of medium for entertainment or for knowledge. So you 5 can work like as one radio. We also did not have a house of our own and would occasionally ask father as to when, like others, we would live in our own house. So the same thing they asked. They were not having their own house. They had to stay in quarters, government quarters, as Subrata Bakshi's father was a government employee. He was a district employment officer. So he was provided a quarter for him. And because of that, Subrata Bakshi and his brothers, they keep on asking his father about the question that when they are going to have their own house. He would give him a similar reply, we do not need a house of our own. I already own 5 houses. His reply did not gladden our hearts. This kind of reply never makes them happy. Nonetheless, we learned that it is important not to measure personal success and the sense of well-being through material possession. So one more teaching, one more learning, one more lesson Subrata Bakshi's father tries to give to his 5 sons. That is, try to keep yourself away from material possessions. Suppose in the classroom, suppose you are seeing that one of your friend, he got nice dress or maybe an expensive pen or a pencil box. Seeing that, if you are going to ask the same thing from your parents, then that what it makes the interest of having material possessions. We, in that circumstance, in that situation, what happens? We are making ourselves slaves of materialistic behaviors. So Subrata Bakshi's father is saying that we should try not to have this kind of thinkings in our mind. Instead, try to respect what others they are having, and later on try to make yourself able to get something better than what you are desiring or what you have seen in others. That means, no doubt, there will be very much fascinating things you are going to see with others that they are having, but at that moment try not to be jealous. But yes, the jealousy must be there. The jealousy must be there. The competition must be there. That how you will make yourself able enough to get that kind of thing much more better than that particular thing which your fan or your neighbor they possess. So we need to take the things in that particular way. So government houses seldom came with fences. Mother and I collected twigs and built a small fence around our house. She had also planted some seedlings which began to bloom. Just at that time, my father's transfer order came. A few neighbors asked my mother why she was planting seeds that would only benefit the next occupant. She said, I must create a bloom in a desert, and whenever I am given a new place, I must leave it more beautiful than what I had inherited. That was my first lesson in success. It is not about what you create for yourself, it is what you leave behind that defines success. So now this is very important and very much deep sensing that lesson that he learned from his mother. So we know that Subrata Bakši's father was not having his own personal home, their own house. So he keeps on getting transfer or postings from place to place. So because of that, they had to stay in quarters. So the government quarters at the time, the government houses at the time, they were there were never any kind of fences or any kind of surroundings or any kind of boundaries. So because of that, what they did, Subrata Bakshi along with his mother, both of them, they plant some flower plants, they collect twigs, they build small fence around their house, and after doing it, they plant some flower plants and make the area beautiful. So when the moment the flowers start to bloom, at that particular moment, what happened, the transfer order or other posting orders used to come for his father, and they had to leave that place. Seeing that, some of their neighbors, they asked Subrata Bakši's mothers that you are not going to stay here forever, then why you are planting all the seeds? It will not do anything to you, but the next occupant, the next person who is going to come here and who's going to stay here, it will be beneficial for them. So why you are doing it? So at that, she used to reply that I need to make a barren land beautiful. She said, I must create a bloom in a desert. And whenever I am given a new place, I must leave it more beautiful than what I had inherited. So, for her, it means that whatever we get, whatever we get in our life, at the moment when we are leaving that particular thing, when we suppose in a place, when we are leaving that place, try to keep it much more better, much more beautiful than what we get it earlier or what we inherited. We should try to keep it much more fascinating. We should try to keep much more beautiful so that the next person who is going to come after me will able to understand the necessity of this, the need, the beauty, the use of the place to be clean, to be green, and to be fruitful. So in that case, if we are going to give a notion, an idea to a person, and that person will do the same thing to the other. So in this way, the whole idea about success, the whole idea about spreading brotherhood, spreading love, spreading care, spreading closeness will come in a positive way. So for that, he learned this lesson from his mother about success, that it is not about what you create for yourself, it is what you leave behind that defines what success is. Now, my mother began developing a cataract in her eyes when I was very small. So cataract is a kind of disease of the eye that causes loss of sight. So when Subrata Bakshi was very young, so his mother was affected with that kind of problem, cataract. At that time, the eldest of my brothers got a teaching job in Bhubaneswar. So it was decided that my mother would move to take care of him, and as her apprentice, I had to move too. So in that particular time, one of his eldest brother got a teaching job in Bhubaneswar. So with his eldest brother, both Subrata Bakshi and mother had to go and stay with the eldest brother in Bhubaneswar and need to take care. Subrata Bakshi's mother need to take care of his eldest brother. So along as his mother was leaving, so Subrata Bakshi was quite young, so he too had to move to that place. For the first time in my life, I saw electricity in homes and water coming out of tape. It was around 1965 and the country was going to war with Pakistan. So it was the first time that Subrata Bakshi he come across the facility, or you can say the boon, the gift of science, that is electricity. He first come to know about it in the year 1965. So when he went to Bhubaneswar along with his mother, he comes to know about electricity in homes and water, running water facilities that comes out of a water tap. So in that particular time, what happened? It was the time where India was going to war with our neighboring country, Pakistan. So it was a very crucial time at that moment. So here he too acquires some new experiences of his life, like what I told you earlier, like electricity and running water facilities. So he got to see all these things. Now my mother was having problems reading, and in any case, being Bengali medium educated, she did not know the Oriya script.